I don't
Yo,
think this is good,
we
bro.
bout that big sword action.
Bro, this is not good.
I got big sword energy right now, Sheely.
This
No
is
time to
not
talk to
good.
you.
What is going on? Oh,
Flop.
I'm gonna throw up. Jesus Christ. What is going on, guys? So today we're going to be talking about the best IFV in the game. I dare say. I think I've played every IFV aside from the Bradley. We'll be making a Bradley video later on this week. I don't have it yet, but I don't need it to make the video that it's about. There's a huge issue with the Bradley, so just stay tuned for the channel for that video. But today's all about the Type 89. Now, this is Japan's first IFV, and I would definitely say it's the best IFV in the game. It has a couple unique features. Well, one most notably is it's the only ATGM firing IFV that can shoot them completely on the move, completely full speed, and it also gets two of them. Now, there's a drawback to this. You have to shoot both ATGMs to start reloading one of them, which is kind of a pain in the ass, and it doesn't really make sense. I wish you could reload one independently if you only have to fire one. But you also reload two at a time, so it'll reload both of them at the same exact time if you're in a cap zone, which is dope, and I mean, kind of a plus, I guess. Now, stock, I don't have this vehicle spaded yet, haven't used the APFSDS belts, or the APDS, I think it only gets, but stock, it comes with an HE belt and a APHE belt, which is fantastic. There's about like 70 mils of pen, 68, I think, at 10 meters on the APHE belt. And it's really good. It doesn't have many issues with tank sides. It can pen almost anything in the game that it sees from the side with that. And then the ATGMs have 700 millimeters of penetration. You get two of them. Obviously, you fire them on the move. So that's your primary source of income right there. You just use it to completely dominate whatever vehicle you're shooting at. Straight out of the box, it plays pretty much like a fully spaded IFV. The only thing that you can notice, of course, is when you get set on fire, you don't have an extinguisher, and when you are partless, you have no parts, so you can't get shot. But other than that, the maneuverability is pretty good, pretty fast. It gets a stabilizer, turret rotation's nice, and I don't have any complaints on the stock front. I was able to do decently well with this thing and get a couple of kills pretty much every game that I played it. I could assume that this thing would only get better by sim, and all of the stock games that I had were at 8.3. So I played this thing in a lineup 8.3 with the STB, an R2Y2, a J7W, and the Type 87, which is the Gepard basically in the Japanese tree. And with that lineup, completely dominated. The STB is a really good tank for 7.7. I would say one of the best, if not the best tanks at 7.7. So the fact that you can bring it up to 8.3 and have little to no consequence unless you get into a 9.0 game, and I mean even at a 9.0 game, you don't really have to worry about anything. Heat FS goes through most of the 9.0 tanks, if not all of them. I can't really think of any that would give you too much of an issue. So this thing fits the lineup nice, and I don't have an issue taking this thing out into a 10.0 game either. It's just that good. So I can't wait to spade this vehicle, and I don't know how many of you guys actually have it, but please comment down below and let everybody know how good you think this is. But even Pred, who has this tank and he's had it for a little while, says he prefers the APHE belt, which is the stock belt, on this thing just because of the sheer damage it does when you do penetrate vehicles. It does a massive amount of damage and actually blows up. I mean, there's not many IFVs in this game that could say that, how well that these rounds work. I mean, I hit that Object 120 twice, and it acted like a normal gun almost. It was like I pulled up behind him with a Panzer II or something, but way more deadly. And that's what these vehicles do well. They can scout, they can move around the battlefield fast, they get ATGMs, they can shoot down helicopters, which is another thing that this thing does super well at 10.0, is you take it out first as a viable tactic. You get cheap spawn points in the beginning, and you have the ability to take out helicopters and any type of airplane, even airplanes. It has a good gun elevation. I can't tell you off the top of my head what exactly it is, but it's not bad, and I don't have an issue with it. But I think the biggest thing about this vehicle being stock is the stock belts and the ATGMs. So you don't have to unlock a better ATGM. Some certain IFVs, like the Warrior, you have to unlock the Milan 2 to really utilize how well that vehicle can play. Just because the Milan 2 is so much better than the stock ATGM. I mean, we're talking hundreds of millimeters of pen difference. When this gets 700 from the get-go, it's not the best on an IFV, but it's also not the worst. It has decent travel time, but the noticeable thing about these ATGMs is how maneuverable they are. So they have a good speed to maneuverability ratio. Some ATGMs, if you guys have played a lot of War Thunder, will know that some ATGMs aren't very maneuverable once they go fast. They go really fast. They'll get from point A to point B really quickly. But maneuvering them while they're in the air, it's kind of tough because they're moving so fast. They don't react extremely well. But these ATGMs go just slow enough to where wherever you're moving your mouse from point A to point B, they'll track. And they track super well into the targets. So you can't really shoot super far range. I don't know the exact range of these things, but I would say it's about 4,000 meters, maybe 4K. Because I tried to kill a hind today who was sniping into the battlefield with the ATGMs, and I wasn't able to kill him. And I would say he was about 4K out. But other than that, most vehicles on the battlefield, you don't really run into any tanks that are more than 4K away, which is good, and you won't really have to worry about it. The biggest thing, though, I really can't stress this enough, is with the most recent patch, this is the only AFV, IFV, whatever you want to call it, that wasn't affected by not being able to fire ATGMs on the move. So previous to 1.85, you could fire any ATGM on the move. BMP2, Bradley, all of them. Obviously, Bradley wasn't in the game, but you get what I'm saying. You could fire all of these ATGMs while you're moving. Now you can't. The Bradley can fire on the move if it's under 10 kph. This thing can fire all the way up to its top speed. So the Bradley has a little bit of help in that regard, but still, I mean, battle speed compared to full speed is a huge difference. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about, hey, am I going fast enough to launch this ATGM? You just launch them and ask questions later. And the fact that you get two of them, you can stun somebody with your first shot, then pick them apart with the gun if you want, or hit them with two ATGMs. It just adds a lot of variety for you to handle certain situations. Now, it's also a low-profile vehicle. Obviously, the engine's in the front, which causes a lot of fires up front, but once you get parts in FPE, it's a shell that you didn't die from, and that's the best feeling in the world, is when a shell gets eaten by your engine and you don't have to worry about it. Now, I can't tell you if this vehicle gets hull broken. I don't know, but I haven't had it happen to me. I don't think a big enough cannon has actually hit me yet, but I know I've survived a couple shots that I probably should have died to in the Abrams. I did later die to fire, but I didn't die to the initial shot, and I think that that's just because this vehicle probably doesn't hull break. I wouldn't say the armor is good, because it's not. It's an IFV. It doesn't have the best armor, but it's decent enough. And another thing that's interesting about this vehicle, but maybe one of its drawbacks, is where the ATGMs are located. So you have to have your turret out to shoot at somebody with an ATGM. This causes a small issue because if you can see somebody and you can hit them with an ATGM or your main gun, they can hit you back, as you can see as this T-55 finished me. But all in all, it's a really, really solid vehicle, especially at 8.3. The only thing that I wish that Japan had was a better 8.3 lineup. Maybe I can't say the Type 87 should go to 8.3, but it would be nice if we had a variation of that tank at 8.3, maybe without APFSDS, something, maybe an STB with ERA or something. I don't know what they could do to make an 8.3 tank, but it would kind of be nice to make a lineup around this vehicle so you don't have to bring it into 10.0, or you don't have to bring a lineup that can't really support it where it's the best vehicle. But you know, that's kind of how all of the IFVs work. It's just that the trees themselves have supporting cast for these tanks. It's not that these tanks don't deserve it. In terms of it raw to raw skill, like a BMP2, and I'm thinking in my head, so the Bagel Panzer, BMP2, Bradley, Type 89, all of these tanks, IFVs of course, I still think the Type 89 takes the cake. I like the Bagel Panzer a lot, and I like the BMP2 a lot. And I think the BMP2 gives it a run for its money. If they're fighting each other, the BMP2 obviously has a higher chance of killing it right off the bat just because of its fire rate, and it can also fire from behind ridge lines. But that doesn't really mean too much when your tank has APHE shells, and it fires almost as fast. The rate of fire on this vehicle too is actually pretty good. It's not too fast to where you have to slow it down constantly. The BMP sometimes shoots a little too many shells, which from what I've noticed, This thing, it's kind of just right, you know. It's not as slow as the Warrior, but it's not as fast as the BMP. It's kind of that sweet spot where you want the gun to be shooting, and you feel like every single round is doing individual damage. Where sometimes the BMP, you put so many rounds on target, you don't even know if you're penning or hitting or doing any damage during certain shots. So that's my 2 cents on the stock Type 89. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you really enjoy this vehicle? Have you played it yet? You want to see it when it's spaded? Of course you want to see it when it's spaded. I'll be doing my best all week while streaming to spade this thing and finish up the grinding. I'm working on the Type 72, and I'm going to have a Focke-Wulf 190C video coming out and a Bradley video coming out this week, where maybe not the best theme for these two videos, because they are highlighting some negative things going on in War Thunder, but I think they need to be addressed, and I'll be the one to say it because I haven't seen anybody talk about it, and things need to be said. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider leaving a like on the video, and I'll come give you your own Type 89, a free one. Seriously, I got you. I'm the guy. Thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful day. Peace, peace.